Hey, what's going on YouTube? I am back with another story time. And if you do like my story times, please like, subscribe, ring that bell. In any case, this was the worst BHO I ever dabbed. Now, when I go to a store, I ain't gonna buy the lowest grade dab. When I look at poop soup, I ain't buying it anywhere. If I'm gonna have some, it's gonna be something I made. And this is exactly that. Now, I have done my fair share of making BHO, and this was definitely notably some of the trashiest of trash. When I was trying to get my feet wet in doing BHO and just extraction in general, you know, you kind of want to get material, whatever it is, as much as you can to practice with. And this was definitely one of those experiences. I was desperate for whatever I could get my hands on to blast into BHO with, just to really just hone the practice down. And one of my buddy's dads, actually, like home grower, pretty much just use like general hydroponics, just old school, just kind of like growing a couple plants in a closet, not really taking too much care of it. Doesn't really, you know, just wants a mellow high, nothing crazy. So you're just kind of like, just that old school, just letting it do its thing, not really being all that proactive. So this weed's kind of like probably like lower end mids, really, kind of like to mids maybe. It just in that range. It's not high quality potent weed. This was definitely the lower rung tier type of home grow weed. And I basically, he came by and was like, hey, my dad has a bunch of old trim and all this like extra junk he doesn't know what to do with. You want it? And I basically was jumping at the bit. Like I said, I just, anything to be able to practice with, I was happy to. So I was like, sure, why not? And I didn't really have a concept of how bad this stuff was until I got it in my hands. And so the next day comes by with like, I think it was like 2 or maybe 3 gallon size Ziploc bags of just like these fat stems, these just like really old, super dry, just like trim, just all the just junk, all the trash that generally should have been probably composted down is really what should have been done. That stuff should have been ground up and composted back into the soil, if anything. And because this did not turn out to be good at all. So normally when I'm blasting regular stuff, it would come out like at least kind of like a shatter, you know, they're just that orangish, maybe clearish, you know, has some decent color to it and whatnot. Generally pretty clear, like decent, even on some of the lower end mids and whatnot. But this produced something different. Partly because I think he didn't really say how old some of the stuff was, but I think some of the stuff was particularly old. Definitely some stuff was newer, was older than other stuff. So it was just all kind of mixed in. This was just kind of like leftovers from like a couple grows seemingly. So I end up just packing this stuff in the tube. And at this time I was just I was using the glass tubes, doing like ounces or so at a time, that sort of thing. Nothing on like a grand commercial scale by any means. And so I pretty much, I blast this stuff, just figure, hey, good practice, getting it down. I had my vacuum chamber, all that good stuff. And immediately when it came out, like the color was when it's in that super liquid form, when there's tons of butane, you can't really tell the color, but this was distinctly a little bit different. You could tell it was like a little bit darker, browner, just that more dark amber looking kind of hue. And I'm like, okay, all right, let's see. It usually is kind of hard to indicate the exact like color that it's gonna come out initially. Having that butane kind of dilutes the color down. So I knew it was going to be different, but not to that degree. It turned into like, I vacuum changed. I did all the, standard process. I gave it a good solid effort. I had this thing in the vacuum chamber going for probably like a day and a half to 2 days, pretty much just going through, checking on it, that sort of thing, just on a slow, low. I figured this was just kind of like test stuff anyways. It was like that classic black, slight, like dingy, just really dark amber. And like, this was some straight poop soup. This is poop soup if I had ever seen it. And I really haven't seen it that often. A couple times in stores being sold as really low grade, like here's a $5 gram of dab. I got it to like a pull and snap consistency, to where it was close to a shatter, but it was like bendy and malleable enough, kind of like in between a taffy and a hard candy. But the black, just like, I kind of knew immediately, like, this is going to be gross. But I always got to taste test my own product, you know? I always got to, you know, see how it all turned out at the end. I'm not just going to like dump this stuff just to see. I'm just, you know, waste not, want not type stuff. And I just figured, hey, you know, the worst is I'm going to dab it. It's going to be gross. I'm going to throw it out, whatever. That's kind of exactly what happened. I took 2 dabs of it just to really make sure. And I gave my buddy, who was also interested in like making BHO and whatnot. Ooh, it tasted like old, just turning hay. Just the epitome of hay. That's just not in a pleasant way. It was overwhelming, like this old aged taste of hay. Clearly no freshness. I mean, this stuff was old. It was like, it just tasted like this overwhelming, disgusting flavor of hay. It didn't make me cough like crazy, but it had a solid cough to it. Like, it definitely wasn't exactly a pleasant, the most smooth experience going through. It just felt like you could tell, like, this is old, this is gross, this probably should not be going into my lungs. So basically, we each took like maybe 2, maybe 3 dabs just to really, you know, solidify it in. I mean, you always got to try something at least twice just to give it that extra chance, you know, in case like that first time just really wasn't, you know, you got a bad part of it. Maybe it's the timing. You know, there's always circumstances to the experience. So you give something a couple times. So that was definitely solidified, like dirty old hay. It was gnarly. So we went back to dabbing the regular stuff that we had, you know, made from other grows and also from, you know, dispensaries and whatnot, and proceeded to chuck that stuff. It was so bad. Never gonna extract something that bad again. Not gonna bother with it. Was definitely a nice little fun practice session. Was definitely fun making it, but dabbing it was a different story for sure. And that's, I mean, I've blasted some bad stuff, but this was on a whole nother level. This was like straight dab gone bad. So in any case, if you do enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, ring that bell. You have a great rest of your day.